Righty, welcome back. So today I'm going to be sharing with you free tips on how to get traction for your marketplace when you launch it the first time round. Marketplaces can be a bit of an interesting one because of the whole demand and supply dynamic, essentially the problem of solving the chicken and egg problem. However, I do think that we sometimes overcomplicate it, and there is a few simple things that you can do that will help you get traction. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Connor. I run a freelancer marketplace in New Zealand called Unicorn Factory. On this channel, I teach people how they can build their own directory and marketplaces. But today, I'm not going to be talking about no code. I'm going to share some of my strategies that I have used to help launch the Unicorn Factory, but also some of my clients' marketplaces. So if you're thinking about starting your own online directory or online business, then subscribe to the channel. I make a whole bunch of videos on how to get up and running, and you don't even need to know how to code. But let's just get into this video. I'm going to start off with the first point, which is Handcranking Traction. So the first thing that I do with clients before we even think about building anything in Webflow is to build a list of their top 20 dream suppliers that they'd love to launch with. Now the reason why that is important is because if you can't find 20 suppliers, then you are going to definitely struggle to find 100 suppliers that inevitably you're going to need in order to generate demand from the demand side. So once you've built your list of your perfect 20 suppliers that you want to launch with, then what I recommend doing is just reach out to them and start building that connection with them. First of all, you want to reach out to them because you don't just want to add people's information to the internet if they are not willing to. And second of all, it's really good to just reach out to people, telling them what you're doing, what problem you're trying to solve, and if you are lucky, then you'll get buy-in from them and they will actually support you getting everything underway. There've been so many instances where I've heard of people reaching out to the suppliers and telling them about what they're up to, that those suppliers then went and reached out to other people in their industry. So just talking to one person can immediately add 6 suppliers to your platform, so do not skip this part. So one thing that commonly happens is that, especially when you are starting to work on your product for the first time, you can overcomplicate things. For example, you try to have this really fancy onboarding process or sign up process, and really all that does is create friction when it comes to people just signing up. So what I'd recommend doing is, at least for the first 20 suppliers that you're going to have on your marketplace, is just upload it all yourself. Now the benefit of that is, number one, you're doing those suppliers a favor. It doesn't matter how good your onboarding process is, it is something that they need to do, so you just doing it for them is doing them a massive favor. The second thing is, because you're taking care of the first 20 yourself, you're actually setting the tone and the standard for what you want the site to look like. Because one thing that I've seen quite a bit is when you let your suppliers do it straight from the outset, people start uploading weird photos and it just makes the site look a bit cheap, and then as soon as the site starts looking cheap, then the suppliers that are to follow after that kind of just mirror what they see, and that quickly leads to your site not looking good. So one more thing that I'd recommend doing pre-launch is adding an optional paid plan to your account. So obviously, as you are just launching, you won't have a lot of traffic and there won't be a lot of immediate value to the supplier. However, if you add an optional paid plan, for example, an early adopter plan, you at least give the opportunity for the suppliers to support you. And more often than not, you'd be surprised how willing suppliers are to pay up front, because the problem that you're solving with your directory or marketplace is so big that they are actually invested in seeing your platform succeed. So this brings me to the second strategy that I have, which is kicking the flywheel in motion. So kicking the flywheel in motion is just all about generating demand for your site. And there are a few different ways that you can do it. So the first way that there is the organic, or what I like to call slow way. Now you can post on social media, you can, wait for SEO to kick in, but really, realistically, it's just going to take time for you to start seeing traffic on your site as a result of those particular channels. What I usually recommend doing is to just use paid ads to just buy traffic. And the perks of using paid ads is that you pretty much learn everything in fast forward. I personally use Facebook ads because it's the easiest way to build brand awareness and get traffic quite cost effectively. And another advantage is that you can pinpoint target people that you want to get in front of. So one of the key advantages of the paid ads is that you can start immediately promoting the suppliers who decided to get your early adopter plan, which is always a nice thing to do. But one of the key side benefits besides promoting them and also getting traffic to your site is that you inevitably start building awareness for other suppliers. So some of the ads that have led to most freelancer signups on the Unicorn Factory website is pretty much when I was promoting freelancers through paid advertising. So obviously I wasn't saying, hey, sign up as a freelancer. What I was doing is I was promoting it to the client base. But because often clients follow similar types of interests, they'll inevitably see it. And then as soon as they start seeing how you're promoting other people in their space, they start seeing the value, and that automatically leads to them visiting your site and then signing up. And what that does is it creates a flywheel, which creates traffic, which leads to more clients, which means more suppliers sign up, up, which means more people upgrade because they see the value in it. That leads to more revenue in the business that you can immediately invest back into ads, which then generates more traffic. And before you know it, you've got this really healthy flywheel going that basically takes care of itself. And that's why it's important that as soon as you have your MVP up and running, that you invest in building up your flywheel, because that is the most important aspect of building a business. Because as soon as you start investing in that side of the business, you'll start generating traction, you'll start getting more people onto the site, you'll be able to see data and analytics on how people use the site, and that will inform the decisions that you should make around building your product out further. Now, if you happen to be one of the unlucky ones that did not get any early adopter signups, or you don't have any of your own funds that you can invest in paid advertising, then I would recommend using channels like PR, or even reaching out to local business networks to help build momentum that way. I recently worked with someone who wanted to create an artist directory, and what her strategy was for getting that initial traction was to reach out to her entire art community and reach out to the local press, and she got a lot of traction that way. And as soon as she started getting that traction, she started getting more suppliers and demand for the site, and that led to more upgrades. And then before you know it, she started investing into Facebook ads, and now she's got a steady stream of people coming to her site every single month, and that is just leading to the growth of her platform. So once you've got your flywheel in motion, you've got a steady stream of people coming to your site, you've got a steady stream of suppliers signing up, then what we want to do is we want to move to the third stage, which is optimizing your conversions. So at this point, it can feel like everything is in autopilot, and if you have set up your marketplace properly, then it kind of is. However, this is the time where you have to double down on the work that you're doing. So the first recommendation that I'd have is to optimize your pricing. So by this stage, you would have generated customers for your suppliers, and you'll be able to tell what kind of value you're adding in terms of monetary value. And what you want to do now is you want to think about what kind of pricing models you can build around the value that you're generating. One of the bigger mistakes that you can make is to build your business model around the tools. So I was very focused on a membership focused business model because I used Memberstack, and that seemed like the easiest way to do things without having to intervene much. But the truth of the matter is that you leave a lot of money on the table and a lot of value on the table that you could be using to help your suppliers even further. So the best way to test different pricing models is by jumping on a call with your suppliers and having a conversation around their goals, what is it they're trying to get out of your platform, and how you can best help them. This is a step that is very easy to skip because I know a lot of people don't like doing sales, but honestly, it is a requirement. As soon as you start jumping on the call, having these conversations, you'll start to hear what the true needs are, desires are of your suppliers, and you can build your strategy around that. And this part is also not about trying to get as much money out of your suppliers as possible. This is about making the support that you can give your marketplace and your suppliers as long-term as possible. And what I have found with the Unicorn Factory is the freelancers who have invested most in themselves are the ones who have constantly received more work than anyone else, and that is the kind of supplier that you want to build up. So as soon as you've identified what business models make most sense given the value that you generate and given the goals and desires of your suppliers, then what you can do is you can start building and automating workflows around those particular business models. Don't try and do it straight from the outset if you don't even know if it's going to work. I've done it so many times, it actually hurts me to even think about it. So let me save you the pain and just jump on calls, have those conversations. As soon as you know that it works, then build it and automate it. And the most important thing about these free strategies is do it fast. Like, don't wait, just do it, and then you can always fix things later on. It seems like the essence of my life with the Unicorn Factory that I am constantly fixing things, but fixing things means that you're identifying issues, and identifying issues only happens when you are actually doing work. So just make sure that whenever you are working on your platform and you're kind of figuring out these types of things, to do it fast. Don't put it off, just smash it out. Right, and so that is pretty much it. I don't have much more to add. I think those free strategies cover the most important things that I think you need to know about effectively launching marketplaces. If you want to ever work with me, then visit my website. I have a form on there, just fill it out and I'll be happy to help you. And yes, other than that, thank you for sticking around for the entire video. I really appreciate it, and let me know in the comments down below what you thought about it. See you and goodbye.